All right, Shabbosai, good morning. Let us begin. I sent out the sheets from today's Mesillas Yesharim to take us to the end of the Mesillas Yesharim of Parak Chof Beis. So we're picking up on page Reish Lamed Dalid, towards the end of the page, Vaha Kavod. So now we're focusing, remember again, continuing on the theme in this chapter of focusing on the things which ultimately undermine, or I should say differently, are not undermine, are necessary for the cultivation of a true sense of inner humility. So we're going through the various different things. Kavod. So the next chelik, the next segment is those who run away from kavod. So a person who goes out and runs away from honor is a person havel havelim, is something in general that is just nothingness. It's havel havelim. It's emptiness. It's meaningless. He goes on, he says, V'hama'avir esa adam al dato v'al das kono u'mishach kol chavaso. And honor, or specifically what he's referring to over here, is those who run after honor. So the need for kavod, the need for honor, is something that ultimately, again, can make a person go out of his mind and can make a person transgress against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because, of course, the great challenge is that if a person at the end of the day is making his life about kavod, so that becomes the be-all, end-all of his existence. And everything he does is to acquire a greater level of honor, to acquire a greater level of recognition. So a person ends up doing things that are against his own interests, but simply because he wants kavod. And again, remember, Torah, our Judaic lives are structured in a way to give HaKadosh Baruch Hu kavod. If a person becomes focused on his own kavod, that ultimately diminishes his ability to give kavod, to give honor to Hashem. He goes on, he says, "Vat umisha makiro vada sheimas b'avi." And someone who realizes the destructive nature of kavod will despise it. Will despise it and want nothing to do with it. V'atihilos esher yahalu b'nei adam yuhalav l'torach kibir oso magdilin hiluleihem al asher eino bo be'emes. Eino ela misboshesh umisaneach al shalodai lo ra'aso shechasiros b'menu hamaylo sahem ela shem isu alav tilo sheker l'mayikalim yoser. And a person sometimes looks at life and he sees that people heap praise on him or people compliment, and it's important for a person to realize that many times when people praise us or heap compliments on us, it's because they only see the stuff that they're seeing. But most of us have stuff that's buried beneath the facade, and most of us have stuff that we keep inside that we don't share with anyone else, and rightly so. There are certain things that should just be between yourself, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And had people would know about these things, not only would the praise that they shower upon me be empty, but they would realize that, in fact, again, I'm incredibly profound deficiencies accomplish. The Ramchal is not trying to make us feel bad about ourselves, chas v'shalom. We're not trying to make us feel that we're undeserving of any positive reinforcement or positive praise. What he's talking about over here is the need to ensure that when we do get praise and when we do get kavod, that it doesn't go to our head. That's the idea, that it's easy for a person to get carried away with themselves. And by the way, this is on many different levels. Right now, that Ramchal is talking about over here, that sometimes if a person wants kavod, person wants honor, so that could be the totality of their existence. And when they get praised, that praise could just inflate their ego dramatically. But the truth is, remember, kavod takes on different forms. There are some people who go through life thinking that they're the most important thing. Their feelings are the most important. Their needs are the most important. They're the center of the universe. That's also running after kavod, right? Just remember, running after kavod kind of looks different ways in different situations. For some people, looking for kavod might come in the form of respect. For other people, looking for kavod might come in the need for everyone to cater to them, or for everyone to be attentive to their needs, or for everyone to accommodate them. Either way, it's not good. What the Ramchal is saying, either way, it creates a sense of egocentricity. And egocentricity is it undermines everything. A, because life becomes about my ego. And number two, because remember, for the Jew, my whole life is about giving kavod to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. My whole life is about directing myself to the Ribono Shel Olam. And if I become egocentric, then all of the energy that should be devoted to God, I'm now devoting to myself. He goes on, he says, page Reish Lamed Hey, Hachilek HaRevi. So therefore, I will say, in that section that Ramchal discusses the idea that one has to avoid the need to run after kavod. Hachilek HaRevi. The fourth thing we're going to discuss, maybe the last part, that if you want to become a humble person, be the kind of person who gives honor to every individual. And so too we have learned, who is honored, one who gives honor to other people. So we'll say an incredible idea that, remember, this in general is an important yesod, but now we're learning it in the context of humility. That halacha l'maisa, in order to engender a sense of humility in myself, so I have to go ahead and give kavod to others. When I respect other people, give kavod to other people, that engenders a sense of humility in me. Va'amru od minayin hayodeh bechaveru shugat l'men afilu b'davar echad shechayev l'nag b'kavod. The Gemara says, how do you know that if your friend is better than you, right, even in one area, that you're obligated to go ahead and give him kavod? So the Gemara goes on to discuss the pasuk. So just understand, this is a very important idea. Every person you meet is probably, let's assume, is going to be better than you in at least one area. Right? Think about this for just a moment. Right? So there are some people, everybody excels in different things, and no person excels in all things. So chances are anyone you run into is going to be better than you in something. And if they're better than you in something, then by definition, they deserve your kavod. They deserve your honor. He goes on, Va'od shaninu heve makdim b'shlom kol adam. Be the first to greet every individual. Va'amru Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. And say, this idea of greeting every individual or being the first is a sign of kavod. So if I run out of my way to greet you first, you run out of your way to greet me first, that means I'm being mechabed you, you're being mechabed me. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. So it's amazing. Out of all the incredible things that were said by Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, I remember again, is no one ever said hello to him first. He was always the first to greet any individual. Vafilu goy bashuk, right? Even a Gentile in the marketplace, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was the first to greet him. Ubein b'dibor, bein b'masim, chayev linog kavod b'chaverav. Whether in speech or whether in deeds, one is obligated to go ahead and give kavod to his friends. Ukvar sipru zichron levracha me'esem va'arba elef talmidei Rabbi Akiva shemesu. Ad shelo hayu noagin kavod zelazeh. And remember again, we're coming up to the period of Sira. And in the period of Sira, we know that the Gemara tells us that the 24,000 Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva died. Why? Because they didn't give honor to one another. The Rebbe will say, we know that must mean something deeper. It must, because it's impossible to really think that it actually means what it says. But what it means is that there was some pegam, there was something missing in their bin adam lechavero. There was something missing in their interpersonal connection. Ukimo shabi zayon hu davra misyaches ala rishaim kidvar akasov shezacharnu bevorasha gam ba buz kina kavod misyaches ala tzadikim ki akavod shochim imahem ve'inu misparish me. And I've also said the same way that degradation or degrading others is a sign of the wicked, so building others up and giving kavod to others is an incredible sign of the righteous. V'omer v'neged zekin of kavod. So Rabbi says, so therefore again, this incredible, this last piece, so it's interesting, out of all the things that we saw before, all the things that Ramchal outlined as the way to come to humility were all things that I do, all like kind of things that I work on in myself. Dealing with degradation, running away from kavod, so on and so forth. This last part, interestingly enough, it tells me that for the cultivation of a sense of anava, of humility, I really need to give kavod to other people. Isn't that incredible? That if you want to be humble, give kavod to other people. That's the yesod. So we'll say we end off by saying, that's all of the parts of anava. So what we focused on in this chapter is seeing all the different aspects that are required ultimately to create a sense of humility. We end off, V'hinei zevadai shanava mesira miderech ha'adam michsholos rabim. Says Ramchal, we know that another humility removes many stumbling blocks. And I will say it's true. How many mistakes in life do we make because of our ego? Right? And how many mistakes in life do we make? Because at the end of the day, things become all about us. We call all about me. That it becomes about my ego, my needs, my wants. Therefore, again, says Ramchal, when a person acquires the midah of humility, they're able to remove many stumbling blocks from life. Page Reish Lamed Vav, we finished the parak. Umekareves oso atovos rabos. And again, acquiring the midah of humility brings me close to so many good things. Ki ani yachush ma'at al divrei ha'olam, v'lo yikani b'hav olav, v'od shechevras ha'anav na'a ad ma'od, v'ruach habrios nocha yemenu. Chazir will say the truth is, a humble person doesn't get caught up in many different things in this world. And a humble person is able to get along with a lot of different kinds of people. And behechrich lo yavu lidei kas v'lo lidei meriva. And a person who is humble doesn't get caught up in anger, doesn't get caught up in fighting. Ela hakol b'hashket, hakol b'menucha. Everything is quiet, everything is with tranquility. Ashrei misha zocha lemidah zu. Praiseworthy is he who goes ahead and acquires this midah. Ukvar amru zuchron levracha, masha asta chachma atar l'rasha, asta anava akev l'sul yasa, ki kala chachma kula lo yarchana v'zeb bara. This is very beautiful. The Ramchal says, whatever chachma, whatever wisdom makes as a crown on your head, humility brings down to the heels of your feet. Meaning what? That if a person goes through life with their intellect, with their chachma is exceptionally important. But the truth is, chachma, wisdom, could very easily breed gaiva, could very easily breed arrogance. Because when a person thinks that they're smart, or a person thinks they know a lot of stuff, that yields a sense of arrogance. So therefore, again, wisdom is incredibly important. But wisdom tempered with humility is the greatest attribute a person could possess, because another humility keeps a person grounded. Humility keeps the ego in check. Humility allows a person to interact and have meaningful relationships with others. Without humility, the ego runs wild. We will, Emir Hashem, begin Parak Chaf Gimel tomorrow.